So SEO strategies, search engine optimization. I'm going to talk about some real basics and also get into some kind of behind-the-scene details. First, we want to look at what the goal is of this effort. Improve website ranking. So what does that mean? When someone puts in a search into a search engine, I'm usually going to just talk about Google. When they put words into Google and it brings up a list of possible choices, that's the ranking, right? Usually you'll have a certain number on the first page and there's following pages. And so we want to do what we can to move up in that ranking so we can be found, which is attracting more organic traffic and of course increases leads. And the real reason we're doing any of this is to increase our revenue, right? Okay, so getting into the basics. Here's how a search engine works. They build an algorithm, colloquially it gets called a bot or a spider bot, and it finds a website. And then it's going to go through this process. So it does what they call crawling the page. And what that is doing is just looking at the content that's on there. It's going to follow the organization. It's going to look for what it's talking about. Are there videos? Are there words? How's the code organized? And it takes all this and analyzing, and it's going to put it in an index. And then each search engine has their own algorithm. And this algorithm changes, so it doesn't always stay the same. When I started dealing with search engine optimization 25 years ago, the algorithms function very differently than they do now. But there are some overarching principles that don't change, and we'll dive into those. And then as you understand, when a customer or a user puts in a query, it then goes through this process. The search engine is going to say, what are they looking for? Okay, we've got stuff in our index that talks about that. Now, what did our algorithms say how valuable that content was, or how pertinent, or how trustworthy is that website? And then it brings back that ranking. So with search engine optimization, we're going to do things on our website that people can see and stuff behind the scenes they might not see, but will affect them, that will increase the usability and visibility of the website. So these are obviously some benefits. One way to think about it is, we've talked about these great resources we have for doing advertising and Facebook ads. And that kind of thing, if there's a lady who's looking to buy cat food and then she has an ad pop up, like, oh, that's interesting. But in this, obviously the person is looking for what you're offering. Okay? And so what you're trying to do with SEO is position yourself to receive the customer. Like, are you in a position to bring them in and then convert them into a lead or into a sell? And then emphasizing organic. Organic is that idea of they're looking for you. You didn't have to go out looking for the customer. They came looking for you. And so that makes these more high quality and, of course, can lead to that long-term sustainable growth. The other point we want to make is you can hire someone to build a website. You can hire people to upkeep a website. You can also do all this yourself. Or if you hire someone, you have an existing website, you can do these things we're going to talk about here going forward and manage it. And so it's no extra cost, but it can be one of the most effective ways because these leads are qualified. And we'll also talk about how doing both reinforce and make it a more powerful effort. So we're going to talk about 3 guiding principles. First and foremost is user experience. And that's what these spider bots are trying to do. I mean, it's all technical, but what they're really trying to evaluate is how helpful is this to a user. And so that can be like, is it well organized? Of course, is it going to be talking about what they're looking for? There's technical things. It could be page speed. They want them, because of the prevalence of mobile devices, is the website formatted to use mobile? Is it mobile friendly? And then they watch the content that's coming on. They like to see it being updated frequently, and again, like how pertinent it is. And that's the second idea of relevance. And relevance is exactly what you think it is. Are they getting what they're looking for? Again, are they coming to your website? Are they going to find a picture of your dog? Or are they going to find your product or service you're offering? And then, is it local? We talked a little about the Google Business Profile. And authority is websites that are linking back to you. I'll maybe go ahead and make this point now since it's on my mind. When you're thinking about links coming back to your website, it's like word of mouth, but on the internet. Right? And so the more sites that people are talking about you or linking back to your website, that creates credibility. But not all, word of mouth is created equal. I mean, is your recommendation coming from a trusted site by the search engines, or does it just come from random? And all links are good, but not all are created equal. So the foundational principle here I want to talk about is keywords, and that is any word or phrase that a customer or user puts into the search engine to find what they're looking for. And so what we do is we can use certain tools to research what keywords are going to be helpful, and then we're going to talk about how we utilize them. So here's a couple of examples. Now, Google Keyword Planner is excellent, but you have to pay for it. There's lots of different options. I have some examples that I did on Ahrefs. And it has, for a certain point, it's free, and then you can pay to get a little bit deeper. And so this is how it works. I had an idea, what would be a good keyword? Well, permanent Christmas lights. So I just put it into their search space, and then they bring up a bunch of different variations that people are actually searching, right? And so permanent Christmas lights, you see up here under it says, it's going to show me the first 20 options. This is obviously a screen clip. There's 477 variations of people searching on the internet that use some form of permanent Christmas lights. Whether in these examples, it's best permanent Christmas lights, or how much do permanent Christmas lights cost. And the way Ahrefs has presented some information, they have this medium, easy, hard. It's their estimation of how easy or hard, or difficult it will be for you to get ranked using those keywords. So how competitive it is. Okay? The volume, this is looking back to the last 12 months, how much that keyword is being searched, and it was last updated. Another one I put in was just Eve lights. You see the volume is not as high, but if we incorporate that, there's ways that when you have 70 different variations of that, and hundreds of them, it adds up. And then security lighting. I mean, what opportunity is there if we wanted to focus on talking about using jellyfish lighting as security lighting on a page or two on the website? Okay. So that's an example of keyword research. Again, it's taking one phrase and then see what variations, and then we're going to ask ourselves, well, how can we use that on our web page? So this is a tool called Google Trends, and it's free. It doesn't give you variations, but you can go in and put up to 5 keyword phrases and compare them. And what it does is it's going to take the information and always puts it on a scale from 0 to 100. So it doesn't give you any indication of what the actual volume is, but just comparing to the other 5 options. So in this image, here's what the lines represent. So blue is a search for permanent Christmas lights, and red is jellyfish lighting. Then you see the other options. First thing I notice when I look at this is we are growing. This space where you guys have chosen to participate in a growing industry. All right, so we're not going down, we're moving up. So the opportunity is now, we're getting ahead. And also interesting, we look at permanent Christmas lights, the blue line, versus permanent Christmas lighting, the green line, which is not that large. So again, just slight variations in keywords can make a big difference. But not everybody, obviously, thinks in the same way and is going to look for the exact same thing. Another thing this tool does, it'll give us a map. And so you can see where across the continental US here, and then Alaska and Hawaii, what search terms are being used most in what areas. So we obviously see these red states is where jellyfish lighting is really strong. And when you hover over the states, it breaks it down. And so this is over Texas. 74% of these 5 searches is jellyfish lighting. And I think that speaks again to what Max and Allison talked about, the efforts we made in advertising, how it's made the brand really strong. And in certain areas, I mean, we are, like Band-Aids for bandages, Kleenex for tissues, jellyfish lighting is permanent Christmas lights. And as we're growing these idea of doing the jellyfish lighting of city location, that's our direct plan to start growing that so it's happening, returning all those states. red, right? And this is an analysis of just variations on jellyfish lighting. So just 5 different terms. And I found this interesting on the map. You see jellyfish lighting is more searched more often. But we have states where there's jelly lights. So it might be wise, especially if you're in one of those states, to use the phrase jelly lights. But I've heard it used here today. I can't remember exactly who was speaking, but they used that phrase jelly lights. And so we can have different variations and focus on what are people searching for so we can capture that traffic. And this graphic is of competitors. And we have the blue light competitor, yellow, purple, green. And this is over the last 2 years. And you see of these, there's only one that's even come kind of close. You can look in the bottom left corner there. It gives you the bar graph. The others aren't even coming close. So there is a lot of value in the brand name. And as you leverage that in your marketing, on your websites, it only brings credibility and it's going to make you more appealing to these search engines and their bots. Okay, so application. So we're going to use local keywords. You're going to find different ways to incorporate them on your website. We're going to talk about, use like your city, your state you're in, near me. We're going to talk about using words with installation. And then long tail keywords, you can see examples like best permanent outdoor lights for homes. Some people when they search are going to be more specific. Some are going to just hit, just the keyword. So here's some examples. One thing that the bots like is seeing if they're organized in the same way we as humans tend to like our documents organized. We're going to use a header. They're called header tags, right? And then what content's on there. And I highlighted this to make sure I point out that naturally incorporating keywords into website. In the old days, one trick people like to try to do was take keywords and they just a keyword, comma, just make this block of text that wasn't coherent, right? And the bots caught on to that and shut that down. So if you're doing what's called keyword stuffing, it's going to do the opposite. It won't make you higher, it's going to bring you down. So you got to make sure you use these words in natural ways. And signaling it with header tags is particularly advantageous. So I just took a web page on our Dealer Hub and applied some of these principles. So everything underlined in green is how I was trying to incorporate keywords. They weren't there before. So before the page was just bids. Now it's jellyfish lighting bids. And you can see I've got one down there, permanent Christmas lights installation in Boston. I've since taken the Boston part off. So you can kind of see how they can be incorporated. And then these little snippets are showing code. And you don't have to worry about code, but just kind of see on the back end. You see up there on the right, it's an H1 class, so that's header 1. Over here we have H2, that's header 2. And that's how it gets represented in the code. But most of us will use what's called a WYSIWYG editor, or what you see is what you get. And so in ours, I could highlight some text and I can have a drop down where I can pick header 1 or 2. Again, that's also signaling the idea of signaling to the user what the content's about clearly and organizing it. And this is image optimization. So when you put an image on your site, one thing to keep in mind is you want to actually give the name of the image if you can use any of the keywords. So if you take a picture on your phone, it's going to call it img_date. Can you rename that? And put the picture up there with that name. Then also we have these alt tags that are highlighted in the boxes. And what the alt tags do is they are actually for visually impaired users. They have a system by which that will read to them what the image is about. And again, that's thinking about the user, making it good for them, right? And so the bots, it's not a completely technical thing. They're trying to figure out what's most helpful for users. So that's the reason for the alt tag. And again, though, we're looking at code. Ours had the ability, prompt me if I want to put in the alt text. Yeah. And internal linking is just on your own website if you have one page that links to another web page. So here's a screen clip from our Dealer Hub talking about managed marketing. And then we have this link, Start Manage Ads, just goes to another link on our page. And again, they'd like to see that organization and the flow making it clear and easy for people to find stuff. Here's an example of how you could organize a website. So you have your home page, then we have on here it's blue category pages, and then subcategories. So here's an example, maybe one of our categories is services, and you're a roofing company, so we've got Boston Roofing, we got another subcategory. That page, we'll call it permanent outdoor lights installation. Of course, that's what we talk about on those pages. So we have products. Maybe you're doing the eave lights, patio lights, and landscaping lighting. And then under eave lights, you can have other subcategories. We're focused on permanent Christmas lights or soffit accent lighting. And so that's trying to use the keywords, obviously, in the page names, which again is signaling clearly to users and to robots what the page is about. And then this is giving you an idea of the structure of a URL, so web address. And how it breaks down with the parts you understand, website.com, and then that's what that category is, services, and then the web page name using keywords. Now, it's not really important to understand the names, but I put them up here just because that last one says slug. So if you're ever if you hired somebody or talking with people about the website and they use the word slug, that's what it's talking about. The name of the web page, that web address. One other thing to talk about here is actual title tags. So this is, I just did a web search and screen clipped our listing, ranked at the top. And the title tag here highlighted is just permanent Christmas lights. So on our website, we use the exact keyword phrase we're interested in as our title tag. Okay? Clearly signaling to the person searching, also to the robots, that this is what this page is going to be about. And again, using your editor, there'll be a place you can find, you'll be able to input that information, or you can leave it blank, but that doesn't help you. So make sure you find it, put it in there, or whoever you're having manage it, that they can apply it. And the meta tag is the description just under that listing. And then again on link building, I already spent some time talking about that. And again, if you choose to take advantage of the SEO page that we do, our website ranks really well. The brand is strong, and so having a link coming from our page to your page, again, just creates a lot of credibility with the robots. And so here's a screen example. Again, we have Comfort Wave. So in this, again, we have the phone number down here, and then the purple get a quote lower. That is just a direct link right to the Comfort Wave website. And so again, as the robots crawl our page, they're checking where our link's going. So they're recognizing that we have some authority in this space. They're like, well, who are they linking to? And that gives credibility. If you scroll down, you can include a write-up and you can have reviews on these SEO pages if you want. Content is king. Keep the content rolling. If you're doing jobs, take pictures of them, take videos. If you do a portfolio on there, if you're posting stuff on social media, we're going to link our social media sites to our website, and we can have some of that content featured on there as well. But the more they see it's something interesting is happening, it's being updated. It doesn't have to be daily or weekly, but it's being fresh. It signals to the search engines that this is a viable and ongoing business. One thing to keep in mind is knowing growth is being able to measure it. And we have Search Console, and Google Analytics are two free services. The Search Console focuses more on giving you data about where you're ranking, if you're moving up or down, how people are again, seeing you in the search engine results. And Google Analytics is telling you how people are behaving on your web page. How long are they staying in one area or another? And so if you're offering different services and products, you'll be able to say, hey, they're spending more time looking at this content, so maybe I should do more of that content. Or if people are interested in this part of my business, maybe I should emphasize that business a little bit more. So that's what some of the insights you can get from these. Common mistakes, I talked about some. One other I want to point on is it's really great to leverage AI. We got like ChatGPT or Google Gemini to create content. One thing you don't want to do is just copy and paste that content over, because the robots can recognize if AI generated it. But use it as a foundation, as a shortcut, and then just like change some of the phrasing, maybe rearrange a little bit, and expedite the process, but just don't do a quick copy and paste. Otherwise, again, it will work against you instead of helping you. All right. overview. Content, relevance, and authority. Keep it clear again, just be focusing on your customer and on all aspects of your business we talked about and in this space as well. Giving them what they're looking for, making it interesting, making it easy to find. There's some technical considerations, some that we've touched on and some that I'm not going to even bring up besides listing here. So you can go back and reference this later, like so we'll have all these presentations available online, and you can search for those and get more details. We're also here, besides helping with the installation and other aspects of our system, we're here to help your business succeed in whatever way. We have Allison and all her expertise, and we're here, we can help with website building, growing. Like we won't build it, but we can give you some direction and some tips and helps. I think what you can see, at least what I see, is that we're making every effort here to help you succeed. As I've been really impressed as I've been working here for the last several months, not only of the competency of these people, but like just the genuine goodness. And we're constantly talking about focusing on you and how we help you succeed. Knowing that we succeed together. But I've never heard anything like bad-mouthing or like, oh, these people are a big problem, or how do we work around this? How do we cut corners? It's always like, let's do quality. How do we help you succeed? Let's focus on our dealers, how we help them with their customers. We're trying to, and I think we're succeeding to bring you an industry-leading product, a high-quality product, and we're bringing all that we have to bear in our experience to help you succeed, whether it's in marketing, SEO, sales, more stuff we're going to talk about tomorrow. And I think it's an exciting space that you guys have chosen to step into, and we are here. If you need us, reach out. Thank you.